The BFG. The Witching Hour. Sophie couldn't sleep. A brilliant moonbeam was slanting through a gap in the curtains. It was shining right onto her pillow. The other children in the dormitory had been asleep for hours. Sophie closed her eyes and lay quite still. She tried very hard to doze off. It was not good. The moonbeam was like a silver blade slicing through the room to her face. The house was absolutely silent. No voices came up from downstairs. There was no footsteps on the floor above either. The window behind the curtains was wide open, but nobody was walking on the pavement outside. No cars went by on the street. Not the tinsel sound could be heard anywhere. Sophie had never known such a silence. Perhaps she told herself this was what they call the witching hour. The witching hour, someone had once whispered to her, was a special moment in the middle of the night when every children and every grown-up was in a deep, deep sleep, and all the dark things come out from hiding and had the world to themselves. The moonbeam was brighter than ever on Sophie's pillow. She decided to get out of bed and close the gap in the curtain. You got punished if you were called out of bed after light hours. She would even said you had to go to the lavatory. This was not accepted as an excuse, and they punished you just the same. But there was no one about now. Sophie was sure of that. She reached out for her glasses and lay on the chair beside her bed. They had steam rooms and very thick lenses, and she could hardly see a thing without them. She put them on. She slipped out of bed and tiptoed over to the window. When she reached the curtains, Sophie hissed. She lunged to duck underneath them and leaned out the window to see the world looked like now. Then the witching hour was at hand. She listened again. Everywhere it was definitely still. Nothing. The longer to look out became so stronger she couldn't realize it. Quickly she ducked under the curtains and leaned out the window. In the silver moonlight street, she knew she'd very well seemed completely different. The house looked bent and crooked like houses in a fairy tale. Everyone was pale and ghostly and milky white. Across the road she could see Mrs. Ranch's shop, where she bought 2 buttons and wool or bits of electric static. It didn't look real, but there was some dim and mist about that too. Sophie allowed her eyes to travel further and further down the street. Suddenly she dozed. There was something coming up the street on the opposite side. It was something black, something tall and black, something very, very, very tall and black, very black and very thin. Chapter 2. Who? It wasn't a human. It couldn't be. It was 4 times as tall as the tallest human. It was so tall, it was higher than the upstairs window. Its head was higher than the upstairs windows of the house. Sophie opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out of it, like her whole body was frozen with fright. There was the witching hour, all right. The tall black figure was coming her way. It was keeping very close to the house across the street, hiding in the shadows places where there was no moonlight. On and on it came, nearer and nearer, but it was moving in sprouts. It would stop, then it would move, then it would stop again. But what on earth was it doing? Sophie could see now what it was up to. It was stopping in front of each other. It would stop and peer into each upstairs window, each house in the street, and it would accidentally had to bend down to peer in the upstairs. That's how tall it was. It would stop and peer in, then it would slide onto the next house instead of peering in, so on all along the street. It was much closer now, and Sophie could see it much clearly. Look at it carefully. It decided it had to become some kind of person. Obviously it wasn't a human, but it was definitely a person. A giant person, perhaps. Sophie stared hard across the misty moonlight street to determine if that was what she was wearing. A long black coat. In one hand he was holding what was like a very long thin trim. In another hand he was holding a very large suitcase. The giant stopped right now in front of Mrs. and Mrs. Roach's house. Roaches had a groceries shop in the middle of the high street, and the family lived in the shop. The two grocery children slept upstairs in the front room. Sophie knew that the giant was peering through the window in the room with Michael and Jenny Rachel were sleeping. And across Sophie, watching and hold her breath. I'll read more to you guys next video.